Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Brendan. Welcome. Today we're going to be looking at building this homepage here in bricks and using automatic CSS and maybe a couple of frames and a little bit of CSS probably, but keeping it pretty simple. So we're going to get started on that. If that sounds like something you'd like to check out, go ahead and stick around and leave a like, maybe subscribe, whatever you feel like. Anyway, let's get into it. So what do we need to do when we start a project? We need to get our fonts, we need to get our colors. Two most important things there. So we're going to cheat a little bit today and use verify. All right, so we're going to get the color there, and this blue looks like it's probably the primary, and the green is probably just going to be our, I don't know, secondary, something like that. So let's take that hex code. Let's go to our dashboard here. We got a temp install here. Fresh install of automatic CSS. We're going to come in here and right here on our primary, we're going to put our hex code in, or sorry, on our action. And I'm actually going to turn off the primary. I'm going to turn off accent. And I'm going to go back to grab my green here, and we'll put that as our secondary. All right, so let's save that. And the other thing we're going to need, of course, is font. So we can just inspect, and let's look at what kind of font this is. They're using man rope for the heading there, and then let's take a look here. That looks like it's also probably man rope. Yep. So there we have it. So let's go back again to our bricks install, and let's open up the home page. And let's change our fonts, and we're going to do that in the settings here and theme styles, and let's activate our child theme, make sure I put our conditions on to show the whole website. And in typography, we are going to select man rope. Now you probably want to upload these if you have have them downloaded, so you don't just select them here. Anyway, so let's save that, and quickly let's get up the beginning of our hero section here. So we have some text in the middle, two calls to action, alternating button styles, and then this image here. So let's get the beginning of that open. Let's look at the frames templates we have here. So let's look at our hero section. So we need something with the centered aligned text, something like that, maybe. And let's go with this one. It's got a media section down below. So a couple things we need to do to get started. We don't have an accent heading. Let's get rid of that. And if we come back to our page that we're building here, we have a dark button, which is probably just ultra dark of this primary blue, and then a white button. So let's get some media in there. Now, of course, you could just build a div and put that in there. Let's go back to frames really quick, and let's look for some call to action links. Something like this. Okay, perfect. So we already have our primary color and our secondary color. Now we'll probably have to style these buttons a bit. So let's save that for now. And let's take a look at these, just eyeball them. So it's ultra dark with white text and white background with dark text. So one thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of color here. I guess I'll just put this on the... we'll just leave it here because we'll probably delete it later. So I'm just going to put this on the ID level. Okay, so what we need to do is get our buttons down. Okay, so again, we have this dark button, and we're not going to need to inspect this. We're just going to kind of quick and dirty eyeball this. All right, so let's go back to our automatic CSS dashboard. We'll come down to the buttons tab here. Okay, so we have everything loaded. That's perfect. Now let's look at our button defaults here for our action button. So we're going to need to action button background is what we're going to have to change here. So the background of our action color, we want that to be action ultra dark, the ultra dark version of it. And we probably want the hover background to be white. Hover background of white. You can just type white in there. And text color ultra light, that's fine. Text color ultra light, that needs to be ultra dark. We want our text color to be dark on hover. And the border color, we probably just want to match this to the ultra dark of the actual background color, so it's not a different color. And what else do we need to do? We've got background color ultra dark, that's perfect. White, that's fine. Hover color ultra dark. Yep, that looks good. That looks perfect. And let's do all our white button too, because we're going to need it's like a white button here. So let's open that up, and background color. Now I'm going to test this out. Let's see. We're just going to use var white. I think we can use var white too, as well as just typing white. The hover background color is going to be action ultra dark, so it's the opposite of the other button. And the text is going to be also going to be action ultra dark, and the hover text color is fine, white. Border color, I guess white too. Now we can do var white, right? It's the same thing. Perfect. So outline text color, outline text color. I think I don't know if we need to actually change that, but I have that in my notes, so I'm just going to put this in here as action ultra dark. Okay. So let's say before we say that, let's come also now. Remember, we have this rounded button corner, and also those are a little bit narrower, I believe, than that. So we come up to the again our button length settings, minimum button length or width, I guess. Let's do like 165, and our border button radius, I guess we can just do like var radius small. We'll see what that does. Okay, so if we save that, and we come back to the builder, refresh. Okay. So that looks good except for the border color. So I've messed that up. So we come back to our border for our button, for our action button, border color. Border color. Outline border color, hover border color. Just make this white. And okay, so that's pretty close. The secondary button, the text. Let me see. I think I've got an outline button. What if I take that off? I take that off because we want a white button. Button white. And perfect. That looks good. The only other thing I think we need to do is all the buttons, button text style. Let's crank up the font weight so it's a little bigger. Okay. All right. So let's refresh this. It takes a little time to get started with the setting it up in the dashboard, but oh, oops. Now I need to remove these again, and again do button white. All right, so those are get started and learn more. Get started, learn more. Wonderful. Let's get our heading going. We're back in the builder here. So heading there, and that looks a little small. Boost your business with fully updated marketing app. So we could adjust that in the automatic CSS area. Let's just, because I don't know if all of our headers are going to look like that, let's just go with a calc. Just crank up the big text size again. Or actually, let's see, I can right click, do text. I don't know if this is faster. Times like 1.6. Carl. No, we don't want Carl. We want calc. Okay. So So that looks a little bigger. Okay, updated marketing app. So that's on one line. Perfect. Okay, great. So let's get. How do we get this gradient font on here? So they probably use the span style. Yep. And we've got a color and a gradient here. So I'm going to copy that, and we're going to come in here, and we're going to. Again, we probably want to make a class for this. Let's make like logo. In fact, I probably have one in here. No, not logo marquee. What do we want? Like gradient. I don't know how to spell it. Let's just make one. Gradient text. Now, okay, so we want to put the CSS on this heading element. And so what do we need to do? So we have two colors there, and those are not variable colors. But what we want to do is, first of all, this is a background image. Background dash image. Yeah, background dash image. And it's linear gradient. Okay, great. So that's on the whole text there. All right, so we'll do this in steps here. Okay, so let me, okay, great. So that's fine. Sorry if it's a little hard to see here. We're gonna go back to our content tab, and we're gonna put the marketing in the span. So let's put span here, and we'll put span here, ending tag. All right. So now we have that in the actual content. Come back to our CSS here, and we have root. So we need to root, and we need to target only the span. Oops. Span is only targeting that. Perfect. Okay, so let's tab these in a little bit. And what else do we need? So now it's just a background color. We want it to be as a gradient on the text clip. So what we need to do is do WebKit background clip text. Let's put an important tag on there too. And oops. And we need another WebKit for the text fill. We need to make the text transparent. So WebKit text fill color, and we'll do transparent on that. Okay. And why didn't this work? Root span. Oh, it did work. Okay, it's updated in the builder now. Wonderful. So what we also want to do, now this color is our primary color. So let's do var, sorry, it's our action color. And this color is our var secondary color. And we can test that by doing like base. And yep, see that'll get, that works now with the variables. So secondary. All right, so we're moving along. Okay, great. So that looks pretty good. Again, let's look at this. That is pretty darn close there. Maybe this font needs to be bold too. And we'll just crank it up, see what happens. All right, perfect. Now, all right, so moving on. We've got this image down here. All right, so we've got sort of background image and this woman in the front, in the foreground. Let's get rid of that image because that's not what we want. Now we have a couple options here. I'm going to take a look at some of the frames options for images, and I believe, yep, there's one that looks like that will be perfect for us. And we're going to go ahead and drag that into the image group. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Let me drag it into there, into the media wrapper. Okay, so let's get our images in there. All right. I've already went and loaded all these images up. Two little things. That one. And graph. See that one. Okay, perfect. All right, so that doesn't look quite what we need. So let's take a look at what our adjustments are. Now, part of the thing with frames is that they come with some styling on there, but not that much. Not styling, but there's some pre-configured options here. So one thing we'll look at here, let's take a look at the class here, and we'll look at object fit here. Let's move that to contain. And already that's going to look pretty close. Now, these things need to be spaced out a little differently. So let's take a look quickly. She's overlapping it and almost touching this, and has a pretty decent gap there on the right side. So let's take a look at the CSS that is governing this image container here. So we'll click into the edit the class and then the CSS tab, and we see a couple things here. We see aspect ratio, so we could change some of this to, I don't know, like aspect height to like 4.5. Is that even going to do anything? No, I don't think it does. That does a little bit. Small little change. Spaced everything out a little bit more because the height is a little smaller. So let's take a look at the first child here. So the first child is from 1 to 7. Now if we wanted to come and adjust that, now that the first child is this leftmost image here. So if we put like 1.6, now you can see now that image has moved over a bit more. You can see the gap there is almost perfect to what they have in the layout there. And if we look at the now the middle child's obviously this woman here, and then for this one we could change. If we wanted to get a little more space here, we could put this 7 to 8, which means that it'll start further over on the 8th FR. All right, so that is looking pretty darn close to what we like now. So we also see there's a little bit of a shadow on this image here. So we come back to the CSS here, and we see there's some shadow there, and I could just come in there and just comment that out. And there we go. Then that's transparent background, no box shadow on the back. All right, so we're moving along. Great. So that is that. We got our starting there. We got our images here. We got our hero image here, and then so let's take a look at building this. This is pretty simple. It's just a logo. Let's maybe spice it up a little bit. Okay. So let's come to. I actually preloaded these in because you don't want to watch me sit here and upload images into a logo carousel. So I built a template really quick, so I'll just take you through it. This top one is just simply a container with a section with containers, and then divs for each of the images. So there's Google. They're all labeled there. And if you want to, so the benefit of something like this as a template is that, let's say a certain somebody from accounting comes in and wants the, she doesn't like that the Twitch and the Behance logo are right next to each other. She wants Twitch and YouTube. I don't know, I'm saying she, I guess we're talking about Bev here, but it could be anyone, right? So now those are, it'll change the order. So anytime you've used this, container on any other part of your website, then you're good to go, and it'll update there in terms of changing the order. All right, so let's look at something a little more fun. So we have here a nestable slider. So if you come in here and this is the default here, you see slide 1. I've gone ahead and added also the same logos that you see up here, although that's not showing correctly. They should be logos. Yeah, you can see it there. I don't know. For some reason, it's not showing up in the builder, but use your imagination. So the way to build the let's maybe look at something a little more dynamic. So let me preview this, and you can see here I've created something that auto slides here. So we're just going to build that really quick. It's not very hard. Let's go to our template here again. Back to the editor. So once you've created your slider, you just need to put your images in there. It's a nestable slider, so you put anything in there. I just put images. Then you're going to come to the slider itself, and let's do it on this one here, on this slider here, this one in the middle. So let's first of all delete that first slide. We don't need that one. And if we come to slidable nestable slider rather, options here. So by default it's set to auto, or it's set to 50 VH. Let's put that to auto, and it will, well, for that one it's going to make everything giant. So let's just go down to, I'll recreate my steps here on the one that's finished. So instead of 50 VH, we're changing that to auto. Okay. Items to show, you could do 6, you could do 5, you could do whatever you want. Let's just do 4. Set the speed to something kind of high. It's like 5,000 or 6,000. And we're set that to autoplay. Okay. Then what you want to do, I have this class created. You don't, I mean, it's nice to use classes. Now shout out to Design with Kraka. He has a video on how to do this a little more in depth and why you use these things. But essentially what we're doing here, we're targeting the list of items within the slider using splide underscore list, and then splide underscore slide to target each of the individual elements. Otherwise, this linear function is set to important. Otherwise, it's going to do a cubic Bezier movement, and it'll do this. See how it's one, and then it goes, and it doesn't have this infinite slide. So in fact, I'll show you what that looks like. If I just copy and paste that, I'll just save that. And if we come back here, see how it goes, and then it stops, and then it goes. So again, we're gonna make sure that's on there. Save that, and we're just gonna delete these ones we're not using. Okay, not using that section. We've just got this slider nestable as a template. Perfect. Let's refresh our home page. And let's go ahead and just insert a regular section with a container. Now in this, we're going to up here to our templates, and sorry, not remote templates. We have the logo carousel as our local templates here. We'll insert that. Make sure you hit import images. There we go. Okay, so let's put that in our container. There's our background. Now we have our primary, action color there. Let's go ahead and remove that. Let's put it on the section itself. Background. There it is. And if you wanted to adjust this down, you could do that so it's a little smaller. All right, we're looking good. We've kind of spiffed that up a little bit, and that'll auto scroll. And let's move on. All right, so what else? What do you got? We've got a intro here and 3 cards, and followed by 2 cards that are set off here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go. Let's see if there's a frame we can use here. Now let's look for like a feature section. Feature section Charlie. That looks kind of like what we need. Let's put our heading in there. Let's get rid of our accent heading. All right, so let's grab this online marketing, data processing, on-time scheduling. Okay, so we see we've got a 4-column grid. Let's go ahead and edit that. We don't necessarily need 4 columns. We're gonna go to the grid Charlie here. Let's go to the CSS. Let's just do 3 FR. Okay. Great. So let's go with that. So let's go ahead and get rid of this last one here. Start with those 3 there. We see here we've got some cards here. Let's go ahead and edit the classes here, and we'll let's go ahead and reverse those because I believe that's how they have it here. Yep. And we've got a link, learn more. Now we'll have to put this, unfortunately, on. Yeah, there we go. All right, we probably should have created these classes first. That's fine. Okay, so we've got 3 and hands and calendar. Hands, calendar. All right, we're on schedule here more or less. So let's again come here. That looks like it's cutting some of it off. Let's go edit the class again. Let's change that just to contain. And for some reason this doesn't want to come in. Yeah, we'll wait for it. We'll wait for it to catch up. All right, what else we got? So three column grid. Now we need to make these cards look a little better. All right, so let's edit the class. Let's go to the layout. Let's go to the padding. Let's put start with small. Let's put a little background color in here so we can see something. And probably need a little bit more padding. All right. Padding M. Padding M. That looks pretty good. Okay. So we also need to make these rounded. And we'll come to our border. We'll come to our radiuses. We'll come to... let's give it a large. I think it's probably... Seems like it's kind of large. Yep, that's looking pretty close. And this one we'll just do an ID style to get the alternating background color. So it's slightly different. Perfect. All right, that's looking pretty good. I don't know where my image is here. Yeah. Anyway, so what we need is something below that that's very similar. All right, so let's duplicate this. Again, we're kind of doing this maybe a little lazy. Don't report me. So what we need to do is we need a 2-column grid instead. So let's grab CSS there. I'm trying to think. Just do 2. 2FR. And how do we get those to offset a little bit? Two, 3, 3, 2. It looks like the break is right there after the first one. So that's like 2, 3. Perfect. All right, we're looking pretty good here. Images here now. We gotta switch those out. Innovation, and this one is some long one. All right, there we go. All right, that's looking pretty good. I don't know where this guy is. All right, what else we got? Moving on. Discover. So we're just gonna duplicate that. And come down here, and in the section, let's see, in the section we just want to post it. Perfect. Does it right after it. I like that. Okay, so moving on, we've got some kind of another featured section. Let's take a look at our frames. Let's go to frames. Let's do featured, and it's an image and features. Now it's kind of like that. It's got a little list on the side. Feature section golf. That kind of looks like what we need. All right, let's take a look at this one. And I think we can probably work with this. So let's take a look at this grid here. Content wrapper, image wrapper. Let's swap those. And let's go ahead and get rid of one of these. Get rid of this accent heading. I don't even see it in here. Oh, I guess it's basic text. Okay. Right. So, custom interfaces, and this is a check mark. Now this is probably, I don't know, font awesome solids. Check. Yep, there's one. And let's get rid of this guy. Duplicate this one. Duplicate the whole card. Perfect. And the first one is change that to color, and that'll change it on the class. And then the second one, I guess we'll just change at the ID level. All right, custom interfaces and regular updates. All right, so we see an image group here. We could probably manipulate this into exactly what we want. I'm going to just delete it. All right, and then I'm going to put a block in here. And that block is going to be at the front. We want the block in there, and let's just put a basic grid on here. 2, 2. A little bit of space, and then if we come here to the block, we just do image. Okay, And what do we got? Some big tall image with three of those. That guy. And this one is profits and then an avatar. Avatar. Okay. And, you know, it's not going to look amazing. We probably maybe shouldn't have even done a grid on this. Maybe if I put another block in. Oops. So yeah, let's put a. Let's just not fuss with it. Let's just keep going. Or we can always come back. All right, so let's save that. And we've got some kind of subscribe to our newsletter nonsense. Now, forms and bricks are a major pain to style. I feel like they're kind of strange, and it's better to just use CSS. What kind of forms? Ooh, he's got a form here. I'm gonna. What if I grab this and delete everything except the form? Form. Just take the form, delete everything else. We'll wrap it in a container and then a section, I guess. And yeah, let's move on. Keep going, keep going. Faster. Sorry, center. And then, I don't know, is the whole background like blue? Yeah, it is. Background. Blue. Button. Can we do button, button black? No. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I love styling the forms here. Let's put the amazing green on there and see what happens. Mixing it up. Wonderful. So we've got our heading in here. Oops. And we'll put the heading up here. Great. Heading. Fantastic. Give it some content gap. All right, move on. All right, that's pretty much the same section as above, and then a frequently asked questions. So I don't know how long this video's been. I feel like I'm probably just rambling on and whatever. So I'll probably just call it there. You know, you kind of get the idea. You get the idea. There's some animations that could be added. There's some pseudo elements that needed to be added. But all in all, that's, I don't know. Are we under 20 minutes? I hope so. I'm gonna stop talking now, and hopefully you guys found it useful. Let me know if building just stuff from scratch, like just looking at stuff and kind of quick and dirty, is fun. If not, tell me I suck. All right, see ya.